Halo 3 ODST is an all-new campaign built using a lot of the same technology that powered Halo 3 back in 2007. It takes a new set of characters and inserts them into a side story built to run concurrently with the events you saw from Master Chief's perspective in Halo 2 and Halo 3. Though these orbital drop shock troopers that you control aren't nearly as super soldiered out as the Master Chief, they can still pull off most of the moves and features that you'd expect to see in a Halo game. So to sum it all up, this is a Bungie-made Halo game. The level of quality and the mission design are what you'd expect to see from a Bungie-made Halo game. It's just told from a slightly different perspective and with a few structural differences that freshen it up in spots. It's not a full-fledged sequel, but for an expansion pack developed using existing technology, it's pretty good. The game opens with your team of ODSTs dropping onto the streets of New Mombasa, a city that just got torn up by a Covenant cruiser warping out while it was a little too close to the Earth's surface. That warp happens while you're dropping, causing your team to get scattered about, so when you wake up as the silent rookie of the team, around 6 hours have passed and you're not exactly sure what's going on. And this is where the first big change in ODST surfaces. The rookie is set loose in a largely open hub world. This isn't the standard linear Halo mission structure. You can get around however you like, provided you can find working doorways to get from one section of the city to the next. This means you can stick to the shadows and pretty much avoid combat when you're in this hub area, or you can sneak up behind the Covenant troops and melee them from behind. What you're looking for is evidence of where the rest of your team is gone, so you're following distress beacons which act as mission start points. When you find one, you activate a mission, which is essentially shown as a flashback. It's here where you shift control over to one of the other members of your team, and it's also where the game's missions take on a more traditional linear form, just like you'd expect from a Halo game. The game proceeds in this fashion for around 7 hours or so. At least that's about how long it took me to get through the campaign on the heroic difficulty setting. Since there isn't a lot of action when you're out of a mission, the hub feels a little dry. There are random enemies running around, so you can fight if you want to, but you don't really gain anything for doing so. There are also hidden audio logs around the city that fill in some of the backstory about the first moments of the Covenant invasion and the role of the Superintendent, an AI that governs the city's systems. These logs are well produced and worth listening to if you're into the lore surrounding the Halo universe. The multiplayer side of ODST lets you play through the campaign with up to 4 players, and it behaves as it did in Halo 3. It's a fun way to play through the game, but I'd advise that you play through on your own first. There's a lot of dark atmosphere in ODST that's designed to be seen alone. The whole point of the nighttime hub area is to make you feel like you've been split off from your crew. Having 3 other dudes there with you sort of spoils the mood. The other new ODST multiplayer mode is called Firefight. This is another 4-player co-op mode, and it's done survival style. In Firefight, you'll spawn in a smallish, confined area and have to fight off wave after wave of incoming enemies. Since you'll have limited ammo, you'll find yourself scrounging enemy weapons off the battlefield when you have a free moment. You won't have many free moments. Firefight is a decent mode, though since it doesn't have any matchmaking, you'll have to find a crew of friends on your own. There's a whole second disc to the Halo 3 ODST package, but chances are if you care enough about ODST to be considering a purchase, I'm going to guess that you probably already have some of this stuff. It's referred to as Halo 3 Mythic, and it's the multiplayer side of Halo 3. It actually still works with all of those people that are out there continuing to play on the regular Halo 3 disc, but includes all of the downloadable maps that have been released since that game's release. If you haven't already purchased those maps, this package becomes a decent deal, but if you're a Halo 3 fan, you might already have most of this stuff, making it a pretty meaningless addition. But even those players will find 3 new Halo 3 maps that are only available on this disc, so it's not a total loss. I think the only real issue I had with ODST is that the characters you encounter aren't especially interesting. The story has some neat kinks in it here and there, but the squad itself didn't really do much for me. It's nice then that the action sticks pretty close to that Bungie blueprint. If you're a fan of this style of first-person shooting, you'll certainly enjoy the ODST campaign.
This is my first time playing these maps.